Well, that's a wrap, folks. The 2021-2022 NBA season is officially in the books. Golden State Warriors finish off the Celtics last night 103-90 to win their fourth NBA title since 2015. Steph Curry leads the way, 34 points, 7 boards, 7 assists. He's named Finals MVP for the first time in those 4 championships. We'll get into all that in a moment, but first things first, Reggie, I gotta ask. Celtics had 23 turnovers last night. You can't expect to win when you play like that against a championship caliber team in Game 6 of the finals. Was this more a case of the Celtics repeatedly shooting themselves in the foot, or Golden State just clearly being the better, more talented team in the end?
No, it's definitely a product of the Celtics just shooting themselves in the foot. I think we've seen in this series even that the Celtics are talented enough to put the Warriors away. It was kind of similar to what we saw last year. I think the Suns were maybe more talented than the Bucks were, but the Bucks had a Giannis, and the Suns just couldn't consistently put down shots. And so Giannis was just like, all right, well, I'll just take over, and you guys just do something about it. And that was kind of the case this year. Tatum, 13 points. Where did you go, my guy? Like, what's going on? And, they're young, but for some reason or another in the playoffs, the Celtics usually always just kind of choke it away. And this year, it just happened to be in the finals after all that they went through. And look, this will be a good experience for them because, they were finally able to get over the hump in some of the earlier rounds, and they were able to put some really good teams away to get to the finals. And I mean, they looked like the better team a few times in the finals for the 2 games that they did win. And you were just like, oh man, here we go. And it was just weird because it took a Herculean effort from Steph Curry in game 4. And then, an all-around team performance in game 5. And then yesterday, Steph, Draymond, they were excellent. And they went ahead and just put them away. And I think, Boston did shoot themselves in the foot with several turnovers. And you're just like, they're inexplicable. Like, it doesn't even make sense what they're doing. And now they, an experienced team with championship pedigree, you don't make that many mistakes against them because whether or not they're the more talented team or not, you make all those mistakes against them and they know how to react. They know how to respond. I think it was good, too, to see like them withstand, because Boston got out to a quick lead. The Warriors surged back and took the lead, and then they never gave it back. And it was interesting because the Warriors took a couple punches. There was a couple times where the Celtics got the game within single digits, and you're just like, oh, man, here we go. But a big shot from Steph going to the cup. They didn't settle for those threes. I thought Clay was going to miss so many shots that he was just going to put Boston right back into the game. And I'm like, man, this fourth quarter is going to be interesting. But then you got Steph driving to the bucket. You got Jordan Poole driving to the bucket. Draymond, Wiggins, they were impact players yesterday, and they did what they had to do to get it done. But if you're the Celtics and if you're the Celtics fan, you just think, man, how did we let this happen? And it's kind of like the Timberwolves in that series against the Grizzlies. Like, you could clearly tell the Timberwolves had the most talent and they were the better team, but you're only the better team when you win. And last night, the Warriors proved that they were the better team.
I got to take a moment, just kind of tip my hat to the Celtics. Again, frustrating end for sure for fans, but the road even to the chip. I mean, KD and Kyrie beat the Nets, beat the reigning champs in Giannis and the Bucks. They beat the number 1 seed in the Heat to cap it all off. If nothing else, they showed their resiliency to bounce back when the chips were down and just kind of punch their way out of seemingly any tough situation and keep proving people wrong. In the end, yes, Warriors win it all. They've won 4 rings since 2015. Who's kidding who? That's a dynasty, right? I mean, Showtime Lakers in the 80s, Jordan Bulls in the 90s winning 6 championships. That's kind of the bar and pedigree everybody likes to set. Do they still need 1 more or even 2, or are they supplanted now among the best teams of all time?
Yeah, I mean, you put them right up there. You put him up there with the Bulls, the Spurs, like LeBron. I think it's just so funny, man, because we and I blame kind of like the sports debate culture on this. We just always like have this knack of like the championship is not even like the body ain't even cold on the championship. And all of a sudden we're like trying to conceptualize like where this team ranks all time and all that, instead of just really just like taking this as it is, like
enjoy
putting
the
it
moment
to
for a second.
putting
Can
it
we please?
into perspective as it is. Like this, which is funny because of how things shook out, but like Iguodala ends up going to a couple teams and then finding his way back to the Warriors for another championship. But this core of Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Iguodala all have 4 rings together. And that part is amazing because they are the modern day like in the age of LeBron. The Spurs were kind of like teetering. They lost Kawhi, and that really kind of spelled the end for their dominance. But then you had LeBron with the Heat, with the Cavs, with the Lakers, and he's winning rings with all these teams. And then all of a sudden, this team from Golden State just sneaks through here and just snatches 4 rings. And you got to put them in the conversation when you talk about, teams and modern day dynasties. Like, they may not even be done. They are aging. Steph is 34. Dre and Clay are 32. Iguodala's probably not back after this. Like, this is probably it for him. They still have Wiggins. I think Wiggins might have 1 more year left on the deal. They got to find a way to pay him, to pay Poole if they're going to, keep this nucleus intact. And we'll see what happens. But then, you're going to get better efforts from teams like Denver, from Phoenix. You would hope the Lakers, since LeBron is still there and still relatively at the tail end of his prime. And so this team may not be done. But then you talk about someone like Steve Kerr, who now has 9 NBA championships as a player and a coach. And now you put him up there with Pat Riley. You put him up there with Phil Jackson, with some of the great coaches of all time, because the guy has been the puppet master, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. He's been the guy that's pulling the strings to help this team get over the top. Remember, they had Mark Jackson with, that same nucleus. Like, he believed in Draymond when people were like, why is he playing him so much? He said that he picked Steph and Clay over any duo, over anybody in the league. He picked his guys. And then he steps aside. Kerr comes in, immediately takes them to the championship, wins 3, wins another now. And people were saying, like, this year, this playoffs as well, might be the best coaching job that Steve Kerr has ever done, because he couldn't rely on just sheer talent to just beat teams. Like, he had to strategize. He had to really coach, because, if he didn't, like, the Celtics probably were going to beat up on them, probably going to maybe beat them for the championship. But he had to make some decisions. He had to really, like, pull some strings to get this thing to work out like it did, and kudos to him as well.
Yeah, Warriors, they're not even off the plane yet. Champagne's still flowing. Warriors fans like, can we just enjoy this for like 20 seconds here before you start comparing us to Jordan and the Bulls and all that? Fun season in the NBA, though, no matter how you look at it. Wolves fans watching Andrew Wiggins get the champagne bath at the end saying, why not us? Hopefully someday soon. Never too early to look at the 2023 NBA Finals odds. They're up. Golden State, your favorite at 5-1, followed by the Brooklyn Nets, Boston Celtics at 6-1, Clippers and Bucks at 7-1. Your Minnesota Timberwolves, want to take a guess, Reggie? Odds to win the NBA Finals in 2023?
I'm guessing it's not the highest.
225 to 1. I swear to God, I'm not making that up. 225 to 1. Come on, give me a
There's
5
a chance.
spot. Give me a 20.
There's a chance.
It's great value. It's great value, man.
There's a chance.
Yeah, no doubt. Wolves fans will for sure be keeping close tabs on that this offseason. NBA draft just right around the corner as well.